entertain considerably. Counting down now to number 6, a prize fight that actually exceeded its advance billing. They called it Super Fight. Sugar Ray Leonard, the challenger, against Marvelous Marvin Hagler, the champ. A duel in the desert for the World Boxing Council middleweight crown. Boxing experts wondered why Sugar Ray was even getting back in the ring after only one unimpressive fight in the previous 5 years. Especially against Hagler, a seemingly invincible champion who hadn't lost a fight in 11 years and was installed a solid 3-1 favorite. But by the 9th round, the fight was too close to call.
Last punch of the fight. Hagler straight down the middle. Last punch of the fight. For Hagler. Hagler backing up Leonard into the Leonard corner. Short right uppercut. He's nailing him now, Tim. Right to the chin. That's where he has to put that left hand. Leonard in some difficulty. Hasn't thrown a punch out of this corner. Now he does. Trying to bang his way out. Look at that determination of Ray Leonard. You talk about a champion. What a display. Absolutely gritted his teeth. Look at him go. Again, in the middle of the ring, and Hagler stays there and punches back. Going to be interesting scoring, Tim. You know, do you like the plodding guy or do you like the flash? Leonard busy on the rope. Hagler trying to keep no knockout. No knockout.
When it was announced as a split decision, Hagler couldn't suppress a grin. After all, he figured, the champ always wins a split decision.
By the winner, by a split decision, and new middleweight champion of the world, Sugar Ray Leonard.
Sugar Ray's win was a stunner, but there were other classic head-to-head matchups in the 80s, including a savage confrontation between Hagler and Thomas Hitman Hearns for the middleweight crown. That time, Hagler didn't leave anything to chance.
To hurry things up here, because that cut is not going to get any better. There's no question about it. Right hand says Hearns. He doesn't know where he is. Hagler goes in for the kill now. And he may be out. I'm not sure he can make it. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He's up. He's up at 9. He doesn't know where he is. It's over. This one is history. Marvin Hagler, a tremendous victory. And there will be no doubters in this one.
In the horse racing equivalent, 2 Kentucky Derby winners went neck and neck in the '87 Breeders' Cup Classic.
Stood up for one out. Judge Angelucci desperate. Ferdinand right there. Ali Shiva on the outside. Ferdinand. Judge Angelucci on the outside. Ali Shiva. Ferdinand has the lead. Ali Shiva. A final surge. The 2 Derby winners hit the wire together.
It was Ferdinand by a nose in a race that couldn't possibly be equaled. That is, until 2 years later in the second leg of the Triple Crown.
Easy go at the rail, head and head coming to the 8th ball. Sunday Silence and Pat Valenzuela. Easy goer and Pat Day head and head through the stretch. What a horse race this one is. Easy goer and Sunday Silence going nose and nose in the Preakness. Sunday Silence, Easy goer. Here's the finish. Sunday Silence wins it by a nose.
The best rivalries in tennis could be found among the women, where Chris Evert finally relinquished the #1 ranking to Martina Navratilova, who then held the honor for 5 years running. Navratilova won 6 straight Wimbledons in the 80s, but in '87 a new challenger emerged to claim the top spot from Martina. Her name, Steffi Graf, and she earned the #1 ranking at the age of 18. The following year, all Graf did was win the Grand Slam, becoming only the 3rd woman to do so. And as the decade came to a close, Evert said of the 20-year-old Graf, she'll stay #1 as long as she wants to. Tennis is the source of our next great moment as we go back to the first year of the decade. Bjorn Borg, age 24, seeking his 5th straight Wimbledon title. And 21-year-old John McEnroe after his first. Wimbledon had never seen anything like the boisterous McEnroe, and he won the first set handily 6-1. But Borg's icy exterior hid an uncommon resolve, and the popular champion came back to win the next 2 sets. So how good was this brash young McEnroe? The world was about to find out. In an unprecedented 4th set, McEnroe extended Borg to a tiebreaker and then hung on dearly. 7 times Borg had match point, 7 times denied. The tiebreaker seemed interminable, 34 excruciating points. 7 times McEnroe had set point, 7 times denied. At 16 all, Borg served, both men feeling the enormity of it all. Yet again, Borg stood just 1 point from having the match even to 2 sets apiece, McEnroe's 8th set point.
Set point. First serve, Borg, it's good. McEnroe backhand, good. Borg forehand volley.
Finally, the tiebreaker was over. McEnroe, an 18-16 winner, and the match went to a 5th set approaching 4 hours. Then, remarkably, Borg regained the advantage and arrived at a break point for the championship.
6-7, 15-40. First serve, good. Backhand return, Borg, McEnroe forehand volley. It's good. Borg, chance to pass backhand. Winner! A winner cross court for Bjorn Borg, and he wins the match. He wins his 5th consecutive Wimbledon title with a tremendous backhand cross court. Borg in an unbelievable victory over John McEnroe. 1-6, 7-5, 6-3, 6-7, 8-6.
Just a footnote to that wonderful match. It was the first time Wimbledon was televised live all over the world. I remember feeling like I was watching a slice of history, not just because it was Borg's 5th straight win, but because of the incredible intensity of the match. You could also sense a changing of the guard. It was Borg's last stand, really, and the McEnroe era was soon upon us. You know, one of the great appeals of watching a sport like tennis or golf is that we can imagine ourselves hitting the same shot the pros hit, once in a great while anyway. And the players seem to be a bit more accessible than in most sports. We can relate to them a little better. But maybe an even greater source of pleasure is watching a little guy go head-to-head with the big boys in a sport like football. Then the instinct to root for the underdog comes out in all of us.
So it was in our next selection, a clash featuring the 5'9" leprechaun of Boston College, Doug Flutie, squaring off against Miami's 6'5" Bernie Kosar. It was a perfect contrast in styles, and on the day after Thanksgiving in '84, they hooked up in a memorable duel. Flutie struck first, completing 11 straight passes and leading the Eagles to a 14-0 lead against the defending national champs. But Kosar responded with 11 straight of his own on the way to a 447-yard day. Trailing by 3, the cool-handed sophomore led the Hurricanes on a brilliant 79-yard drive in the game's final minutes. When Melvin Bratton scored his 4th touchdown of the day, Miami led 45-41, and it left Doug Flutie just 28 seconds to take the Eagles 80 yards. On a day when Flutie would virtually clinch the Heisman Trophy, throw for 472 yards, and become the first major college quarterback to pass for 10,000 yards, fans would remember something else entirely.
Well, here we go. Here's your ball game, folks, as Flutie takes the snap. He drops straight back, has some time. Now he scrambles away from one hit. Looks, uncorks a deep one for the end zone. Phelan is down there.
Oh, he got it!
Did he get it?
He got it!
Touchdown! 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 Touchdown, Boston College! He did it! He did it! Flutie did it! He got Phelan in the end zone! Touchdown!
I don't believe.
Oh, my goodness! What a play! Flutie to Gerard Phelan! 48 yards! No time on the clock! It's all over!
Doug Flutie certainly earned his place in the sun, but he had some pretty fair company. In his first year, Herschel Walker broke Tony Dorsett's freshman rushing record. Broke a few tackles, too, in leading Georgia to a national title. The next year, Walker nearly became the first sophomore to win the Heisman Trophy, finishing second to Marcus Allen. But in '82, there was simply no stopping Walker, who outpolled John Elway and Eric Dickerson combined to win the Heisman as a junior. Then along came Oklahoma State's Barry Sanders, who also won the Heisman as a junior while compiling some unthinkable numbers. Sanders gained 239 yards a game on the ground in '88 and scored 39 touchdowns in 11 games. No wonder Sanders figured he might as well turn pro. For Bo Jackson, the question was which kind of pro to turn. After winning the Heisman Trophy at Auburn, Jackson was the #1 selection in the '86 NFL Draft. But it also turned out that Bo was pretty fair at hitting a baseball.
He wanted to call time on that pitch and nails it to deep left. Can you believe that? Incredible. He wanted to call timeout. He didn't get it, swung the bat and hit it out of the park. A 3-run homer.
1981 was the year of Fernando Mania. With a look to the heavens and a wicked screwball, Fernando Valenzuela won the Cy Young Award as a 20-year-old rookie and became an overnight sensation. The Great Whoopee is how speed skater Eric Heiden referred to a similar clamor surrounding his quest for 5 individual gold medals in the Lake Placid Olympics. And when the games were over and Heiden had swept all 5 events at distances from 500 to 10,000 meters, the gold medal total of Heiden the Great ranked behind only 2 countries. Jim Kelly had a different concern. An MVP in the USFL, Kelly was dubbed the best quarterback no one ever saw play. Doug Williams did his best throwing in front of 80 million viewers, leading the Redskins to a win in Super Bowl 22 and capping a heartwarming personal comeback. But Joe Montana earned bragging rights as the decade's top quarterback, guiding his 49ers to 3 Super Bowl wins and winning the game's MVP award twice. It was the same 49ers who gave us great moment number 3. One hyperbolic reporter compared it to the Great Earthquake as a part of San Francisco lore. The Dallas Cowboys had knocked San Francisco out of the playoffs in the Niners' last 3 appearances, and now the indomitable quarterback was trying to overcome his team's 6 turnovers. With head coach Bill Walsh, Joe Montana devised a strategy to lead the Niners on a pressure-packed drive from their own 11 as time wound down in the 4th quarter. It all came down to one unforgettable play.
Just simply throw the ball away. You know what I mean? Hold it.
The Cowboys' lead was 6 points. The 49ers had the ball on the Dallas 6. The play was called sprint right option. Montana was to roll right, and if Freddie Solomon was covered, Dwight Clark was to cut across the end zone. Of such, legends are born.
Montana on the rollout to the right side. Pulls up, being chased, finally fires in the end zone. Clark, touchdown! Dwight Clark catches the ball.
The 49ers would engineer another near-perfect drive to win the decade's last Super Bowl, but nothing would ever top the catch. And so on to the decade's runner-up, the 1986 World Series. It had been the year of the Mets, but the Boston Red Sox had outplayed the Amazons in the World Series, and by the time Dave Henderson homered in the 10th inning of Game 6, the Mets were on the brink. The outlook wasn't brilliant for the New York Nine that day. They trailed by 5-3 in the last inning of play. And when Backman flied out harmlessly and Hernandez did the same, a sickly silence fell upon the patrons of Old Shea. Then Carter ripped a single to the happiness of all, and the rookie Kevin Mitchell tore the cover off the ball. And when the dust had settled and fans saw what occurred, 2 Mets had staved off defeat. Ray Knight became the 3rd. Then from 50,000 throats there rose a lusty yell. It rumbled through the valley. It rattled through the dell.
Gets away! Gets away! Here comes Mitchell! Here comes Mitchell!
It knocked upon the mountain and recoiled upon the flat. For Mookie, the mascot of the Mets, was standing at the bat.
Mookie Wilson still hoping to win it for New York. 3-2 the count.
And the pitch by Stanley, and a ground ball trickling. It is a fair ball. Gets by Buckner. Pounding third night. The Mets will win the ball game. The Mets win. They win.
Oh, somewhere in this favored land, the sun is shining bright. The band is playing somewhere, and somewhere hearts are light, and somewhere men are laughing, and somewhere children shout. That somewhere's New York City. The Mets had lucked it out. Well, some people just plain have all the right moves, like Florence Griffith Joyner, for instance. FloJo attracted a lot of attention with those flashy costumes, but it was her speed that really made people turn their heads. In the '88 Olympics, she won 3 gold medals and the title World's Fastest Female. And FloJo captured hearts everywhere with that eye-popping smile. Mike Tyson's moves mainly involved destruction, and Iron Mike pulverized one opponent after another with a remarkable reign of terror. Among Tyson's victims was previously unbeaten Michael Spinks, who made the mistake of coming back for more. Spinks lasted all of 91 seconds and joined a knockout list that included former champ Larry Holmes. Tyson, who became the youngest heavyweight champ at the age of 20, was called by some experts the hardest puncher to wear the crown since Joe Louis. Now here's something that had never been seen before. The first ever NHL goal off the stick of a goalie. The Flyers' Ron Hextall. And a short tribute to Greg Louganis, who won 4 gold medals in the 80s with unparalleled moves. After an 18-year career which earned him plaudits as history's greatest diver, Louganis was chosen from among 9,600 athletes in Seoul as the game's most inspiring performer.
The award Louganis won in '88 is called the Olympic Spirit Award, and if we go back to the first Olympics of the '80s, I don't think there'd be much doubt about who deserved the honor. The beauty of sport, it seems to me, is that it provides an escape and often a much-needed lift from the rigors of everyday life. If you recall, in 1980, there was a growing sense of frustration in this country with the state of domestic and international affairs. What transpired then over 2 weeks in February 1980 was not merely a sports event. The triumph was magnified, the athletes deified. It was a national phenomenon, a source of wonderment, delight, and pride for millions of Americans. It was, as Roger Angell reminded us, enough to send grown men and women to dancing and shouting with joy in the middle of the night.
In case you haven't guessed, it was the U.S. hockey team against the Soviets. In the 1980 Olympics, the U.S. team had no right, really, to expect to beat a team that had defeated the NHL All-Stars the year before. But with the Soviets up by a goal and time running out in the first period, came a hint of what was to come.
Scores with 1 second to play.
Who can forget the crowd chanting, USA, USA, even as the Soviets went back on top? There was still a dream that the impossible could happen, a collective hoping against hope.
Rush on this power play opportunity. 13 seconds left in the penalty. Big shot again. By Johnson, they score!
It was tied with less than 12 minutes to play, and now Coach Herb Brooks and his team were making believers of us all. They were truly America's team, the ultimate underdog, playing out an entire nation's wildest fantasies on a sheet of ice. Could it really be, we asked ourselves? The Americans led the Soviets, and 10 frenzied minutes dwindled down to seconds.
4-3, long shot. Craig able to get a piece of it to sweep it away. 28 seconds. The crowd going insane. Karlamov shooting it into the American end again. Morrow is back there. Now Johnson, 19 seconds. Johnson over to Ramsey. Ilya Letonov gets checked by Ramsey. McClanahan is there. The puck is still loose. 11 seconds. You've got 10 seconds. The countdown going on right now. Morrow up to Schultz. 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable.
Here it is nearly a decade later, and the memories of what took place at Lake Placid are as sweet as they were the day after that miraculous victory. I've run into scores of people who just want to talk about it and how great it made them feel, and still does. Taking everything into consideration, personally, I can't imagine witnessing anything in sports that will ever top it. As memorable as the games were the celebrations that followed. With the whole world watching, there was Jim Craig searching the stands for his father, Mike Eruzione calling for the entire team to join him up on the victory stand, a sea of red, white, and blue embraces. It doesn't get any better than that.
There was still the matter of beating Finland to clinch the gold medal and let the celebration continue.
He scored!